A very good evening and welcome to another exciting edition of Big Talk, a program where we highlight political issues in Nigeria and how to move the country forward. Like we say, Nigeria belongs to all of us and we must make sure that this country moves forward. And we know that politics plays a central role in nation building, at access to bring discussions that is geared towards moving our country and making our country that great country that we all dream about, right? Nigeria can be the great country that we all dream for. Let's go for a short break, and when we're back, we'll get to introduce our guest for tonight and the discussion that we'll be having concerning how to move Nigeria forward. All right, so when we come on the show every night, what we do is that we highlight issues concerning Nigeria. And some of these issues are issues that are actually trending on platforms where Nigerians actually discuss this issue. Tonight, we have a couple of stories that will bring out to you. These are stories that are trending all across Nigeria. Let's take the first story for tonight. The story says, no court injunction against David Mark Arebesola's leadership, ADC. So, the African Democratic Congress has clarified that no court injunction was granted against its national chairman, Senator David Mark, and national secretary of former Minister of Interior, Rauf Arebeshola. All right, so we saw some stories on social media and media platforms early on today that Arebeshola there's a court injunction against Arebeshola of becoming or claiming to be the national secretary of the African Democratic Congress, the ADC. But today we're seeing the ADC leadership coming to say that there's no court injunction that was granted against its national chairman, Senator David Mark, and national secretary of former Minister of Interior, Rauf Arebeshola. We'll take another story now. Benue Assembly amends law, renames state university. So today we saw the Benue State House of Assembly amended the law that renamed Benue State University, Makurdi, as Reverend Moses Orisho Adawusu University, Makurdi. That's actually in Benue State. All right, we take another story. Yobe South APC chieftains beg Tinubu for representation in appointment. Members of the APC in Benue State have actually begged President Bola Tinubu today over what they describe as the total exclusion of their zone from federal appointments. So we see APC Benue, APC Yobe South begging President Bola Tinubu, I beg your pardon, it's actually Yobe South APC, not Benue State. Yobe South APC chieftains begging President Bola Tinubu against what it's called total exclusion of those from that particular zone from political appointments. All right, I know the story now. APC slams Obi over borrowing criticisms defends Tinubu's policies. So the All Progressive Congress in Lagos has defended the borrowing policy of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So earlier today we saw the All Progressive Congress in Lagos State coming to defend the borrowing policy of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, insisting it is strategic and aimed at funding critical infrastructure, not reckless as alleged by Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi. We take another story. No rift between Ayedatiwa, Tunji Ojo, Ondo APC elders. Elders of the All Progressive Congress in Ondo State under the aegis of Ondo Mandate Elders Forum dismissed reports of a rift between Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa and Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji Ojo. According to them, there is no love lost between the two. They are still in very good terms. That's from elders of the All Progressive Congress. We actually wish it so, and I wish them all of the best. But that's the reports. Ours is just to bring you the reports. We take the last story for tonight. Okay, those pushing for service chief sack have ulterior motive in Ndume. So a former Senate leader, Senator Ali Ndume, has urged President Bola Tinubu to disregard recent calls for the removal of a service chiefs, warning that such move could demoralize armed forces at a critical time in Nigeria's fight against insecurity. That's coming from Senator Ali Ndume. Senator Ali Ndume is saying President Bola Ahmed Tinubu continue using this service chiefs. They are doing well. So that's from Senator Ali Ndume, passing a vote of confidence on the service chiefs. All right now. Tonight on the show, we highlight issues concerning the political implication of Sowore, who was the 2023 political candidate, party candidate of the ASC, the African Action Congress. He's an activist and has been very involved in activism. There's face-off with governments. These days, there's been a lot of face-off between Sowore and government. Tonight on the show, we have Bennett Joseph Ebikong, who is actually a rights activist and legal practitioner. That means said, a lawyer, joining us to help make sense of a discussion tonight. All right, so he will be joining us via Zoom as we get to have the discussion. A very good evening to you, Bennett Joseph.
Good evening. How are you doing, sir?
All right, if you can hear me, I'll just go ahead and ask you, how are you today, and how are you doing?
I'm very fine, thank you. How is you and how is everybody?
We're fine. When will you be back to Abuja? Let me start. I hope you get back. Maybe you don't need to tell me the dates for security reasons, but I hope you get back to Abuja sometime soon, because we want to have you in the studio.
No problem, sir. By His grace, by God's grace, I'll be in Abuja very soon, and I would love to come to the studio for formal discussions. Thank you.
All right, so let's get to the discussions now. We've seen some sort of misunderstanding or a lot of back and forth between the presidency and a civil rights activist, which you've worked closely with him, Omoyele Sowore, and you've worked with a couple of his lawyers and all of that. At first there's been a lot of issues, right? But the major ones this period, we started with the police protest about police pensions, police being paid and all of that. We got to protesting about AI, his AI glasses that he alleged was stolen by a police officer. And of recent, his recent tweet about President Tinubu and, a lot of people, even we had the SSA, Senior Special Advisor to the President on media, Bayo Onanuga, according to Sowore, reaching out to him privately and asking him to delete that tweet. So I like that you talked to us. Let's start on that note. The role of activism and talking to government, should it always be pointing out what government is not doing right? What is the place of also pointing out what government is doing very well?
Okay. Let me start on this note. Well, for democracy to strive in any country, the views and perspective of the populace, the citizenry, must be respected. We should not under the guise of cybercrime laws and defamation, suppress citizens from speaking up. And I think what has happened between Sowore and the federal government in all the scenarios you've stated, especially the one that has to do with the police pension, we all saw the benefits of what happened afterwards, after the protest. How some genuine retirees even came out to protest, and now because of that protest, there are some reforms. You saw how the IG has, because of that protest, promoted some persons. How they are looking at their genuine concerns about the pension fund and the rest. So activism in Nigeria is a very difficult scenario and waters, but I think the protest by Sowore and his people, the Take It Back movement, brought about a positive development for those police officers retired and also those in service. It is unfortunate that as of now, the AI glasses and the rest has still not been recovered from Mr. Sowore, but we are hoping that with time, that one will be settled. Then when it comes to the matter is subsidies, so I will not delve. It's I think what we are the problem with our laws there, because
Can you hear me? Hear me? All right, so we're trying to see how to bring Barrister Adikon back on the line to Barrister Bennett as we're discussing the implications. I think we're having some technical difficulties. Well, just to give you a background, there's been the DSS wrote to Twitter, a social media platform called X, formerly called Twitter, informing them of the tweet, one of the tweets that was made by Omoyele Sowore as being against national security. And this has actually drawn a lot of views, divergent views from people from the Sowore scam and even people from government about what do we call, in this case, as being against national security. There's been a tweet about calling Mr. President some names that, according to the government, it's not supposed to be. So I think we have Mr. Bennett back on the line. All right, Mr. Bennett, are you there? Can you hear me? All right, so we're still trying to get him back on the line. Our technicians.
yes,
All
I
right.
hear you, sir. I think the network is a bit bad. You
All right.
see,
So
the term
just go ahead. Yeah.
national security has always been used by the political class. Hello, can you hear me? Hello, sir, can you hear me, sir? Okay, well, the issue of national security, well, it is like Michael Zuckerman saying, will say, this just concluded AJC, the Lawyer General conference that was held in Enugu. The issue of national security in Nigeria has always been the political class and their security. It is what they've used all this while to intimidate activists, to arrest and abuse those out there speak against the government of the day. You see, the issue of national security is we are aware national security is a thing and should be protected by all and sundry. But when it comes to using it by the powers that be, by the police and the armed forces to intimidate and suppress free speech, that is where it becomes a problem. We have activists and journalists who have come out to speak against policies of the government, just policies of the and not the government of the day. And they are being harassed and arrested in the guise of this national security and the Cybercrime Act. If we must grow as a democracy, as a nation, we must welcome diverse views for our democracy to grow. We should not be arresting anybody that comes to speak against the government of the day. And that address the genuine issues that are trying to raise. If you have other facts to oppose them, you come to the media and you make your points clear. So the issue of national security, the perspective of Nigerians and as lawyers, we feel it's just a guise by the government of the day and the security agencies to suppress freedom of speech and activists from voicing out. Thank you.
The issue of national security, but I'd like to still stay on this case of
Hello, sir.
activism.
Can you hear me?
Absolutely. The case of activism. As an activist, is there supposed to be a line? Are activists not supposed to also commend government? Because most of the time we see activists always looking at the point where they feel government is not doing well. Is there a place for activists to also commend government? Is that not part of the plan?
Yes, there is. If the policies of the government are okay, an activist can actually commend the government. I think we've seen it a number of times when the issue of like the policy of the visas, how fast we can do them via the Ministry of Interior. When it happened, I think a lot of activists came online. Even myself, commended the government of the day. So nobody is saying that you should not commend the government. But we know as a politician leaders and activists, we most times look at the failure of government of the day and to talk about it so that they will improve on. And if you look at it, Nigeria as a whole, the failures of government are way more than even the things are getting right. Nigerians are actually not happy with the government of the day for a lot of policies.
All right. Okay.
So
Okay.
you
Okay.
definitely get a lot of negative
All right.
reviews
So
from
okay. So
active journalists and
yeah. Thank
even
you. Yeah, thank you so much. Let's go for a short break, and when we're back, I'll get back to you. Let's go for this short break, and when we're back, we're still talking about Showere and political activism and what it means for the government in 2027, and even for the government today, right? Actions could trigger reactions. People say that a lot. Let's go for this break. Back if you're just joining us, this is Big Talk, a program that highlights political issues around Nigeria and how we can actually move the country forward. Joining us tonight is Bennett Adikon, who's actually a lawyer, joining us from Yenogwa at the moment where he is, as we talk political issues concerning Showerre and the implication for 2027. Let's get Bennett back on the line as we'll keep having the discussion. Hello, Bennett. Can you hear me at this moment?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can actually hear you. We're having some interference. We're trying to check that out. Okay, so I think we're good to go now. So we're talking about the fact that you were trying to tell us that activists also commend the government. So I wanted you to finish that thought.
Okay, yes, like I said earlier, if the policies of the government are actually good, the citizens or activists can come out to say, this government has done is commendable, it is good. Like the issue of the visa applications and what the Minister of Interior has done in that respect. Yeah, I saw a lot of activists coming up, and even myself commended him for the good work he has done. So activists also do commend the government, but to be sincere, the role of activism, like I said earlier, is actually to highlight the parts that are anti-people and to bring it to the fore, so that the government can work on those things for the benefit of the citizenry. That is why we see more of the negative effects of the negative part of the government. We're being criticized more than what they've done. But if you have to be fair, this government has not done much for Nigerians, for the common Nigerians to see and say, we'll appreciate. Though they keep telling us that the policies are yielding results, but the results are far-fetched.
Right, so that's why we... All right, so is that not from a place of being partisan, that because that's objective? The governments also, I'm not speaking for them, right? But governments have also, mentioned the things they've done.
Yes, they've mentioned the things they've done on paper. But you are in Nigeria, and you can go to the market square, the market, and ask the common woman of the market the things they face, and they'll tell you that they are not feeling the effect of the government. Those suffering the policies of the government are the common Nigerians going to the market. The inflation rate is high, the naira is high, the exchange rate is nothing to write home about. Nigerians are suffering. So do you expect the activists to be commending the government of the day for suffering the citizens? Of course not. Of course not. Like I told you, like I said earlier, the policy on the visa applications that the Minister of Interior is doing very well in that regard. A lot of Nigerians have come out to thank him for what he has done. But if you are carrying out policies that are anti-people, you activists should come out and condemn it, because those are the people that can speak for the people.
All right, so let's still talking about Showerre, and is it not getting into trouble so many times from one issue to the other? There was a time he was, banned from leaving Abuja for was it a year or so? Is it not getting into trouble quite too often? And is it not quite troubling that he keeps having this interface with the government?
Well, in this regard, I don't think. These are one of the downside about being an activist and speaking for the people. The real issue is for the government to accept opposing views, because we cannot view the world in a single lens. It's for the government to take criticisms, constructive criticisms, look at them, and in a way say, okay, this thing you're saying is right, come to the round table and see how we can better bring out policies that will benefit the citizens. For example, the issue of the police pension and the rest, we all applauded him. We all saw what came out even after the protest. So Showerre took it up on himself, despite losing his AI classes, the incarceration and the rest. But people are benefiting from it. I think that is just the pain of activists. So we're fighting for the people. I think that is just it. Being an activist is not an easy job. From going to Mandela's and the rest, we also what they suffered in the hands of the government. Even Ganifa, my mentor. So it's just, I think, one of the downside about being an activist. That's why it's not everyone that is an activist.
All right, so but there are questions about public support, and some people claim that some activists whip up public sentiments to gain popularity. I'd like to hear your views on that particular question.
Well, itself, I won't deny that it happens. It happens. There are some who just want engagement on their social media handles, farming. What is it called? For people to engage and have impressions and all the rest. Not all activists are actually activists, but those speaking for Nigeria, I think as Nigerians, we know them. They are speaking for the people, and they won't be bought by the government. We know them. So what you just said, the question you just asked, yeah, there are some activists that do like that.
All right, so let's talk about even Nigerians supporting activists. I like that you speak to me about that. Are Nigerians really supporting or supportive of activists as far as that particular line of work is concerned in the country? Are they supported by Nigerians?
Well, in a way, the role of social media in governance has grown over time, not just in Nigeria, but in other countries, in developed and developing countries. Activism, people can see beyond your motives. If you have the people at heart and what they are saying is true, truth cannot be hidden. So I think in most cases, Nigerians are actually in support of activism. Just that in a way, Nigerians are reactive rather than we wait for things to happen before we react to them. One other young man I would like to talk about, very dark man, you see what he's doing. You see a lot of support from him, the work he's done. Though some persons may criticize, nobody is perfect. He may make some comments or some things that may not be generally accepted, but at least overall, what he has done over all the years is speak for Nigerians. What Sowore has done for Nigeria over the years is speak for Nigerians, and the track record is there. Anybody can find it and see that this young man has the populace at heart. I'm not speaking for him, but because of the question he asked and from what we have seen, and Nigerians are actually in support of activists if they are actually not those ones that will go behind the back door to collect money from the government of the day to farm engagement and speak from their mouth, deny they're saying something else. But if you are true, Nigerians can see through your lies, and definitely Nigerians are supportive of those that will actually speak for. They do. I believe they do.
All right, so now let's look at Nigeria as a country. To those who are in this line of work that you have to speak for people, those who are journalists, those who are editors, those who are lawyers, communicators, activists, and generally in this very line of public engagement work. How safe is Nigeria for people to operate and are able to give free speech and have freedom of speech, which is one very cardinal thing as far as your profession is concerned? You're very concerned about freedom of speech. Just to buttress this point, just yesterday we saw a thinker, somebody who does debate in the US, and while in Utah, one of the universities, gathering people and debating, and sadly he was shot dead, and that's actually raised a lot of conversation around the place of free speech in the world. But I like to localize it to Nigeria, right? How is Nigeria faring as regards activism and people having the ability to speak their mind and speak their conscience?
Okay, well, with regards to free speech and activism in this country, I think this government is scoring below average when it comes to, in fact, it's not even below average. This government has been accused of clamping down on activists and journalists for just making anti-policy statements against the government of the day. Take, for example, I think the Cybercrime Act, Section 24, criminalizes sending messages deemed to cause annoyance, insult, or needless anxiety. This provision is very broad, and the language of the provision is susceptible to arbitrary interpretations, allowing it to be used to suppress dissent, criticism, and journalism, creating a chilling effect on public discourse. While the law itself is intended to target genuine cyber threats, its broad scope is frequently weaponized against active journalists and citizens for exercising their constitutionally guaranteed rights to freedom of speech in Nigeria. And you can see a lot of cases, the Sowore arrest and the VDM arrest. If you make a post against a senator, if he feels I can use the police to intimidate you by virtue of the Cybercrime Act, a law that even we lawyers are advocating that they should look into, reform it, and if possible, remove some sections that make it broad for the police and the security agencies to just arrest anybody that speaks against the government of the day. And in this government, we've seen a lot of journalists, a lot of activists harassed and arrested, embarrassed, maimed, for just speaking against policies of the government, which is very bad for democracy. And like you said, it's a risky job for journalists and for activists. In this government, we've seen a lot of things happen to journalists and activists, trying to silence them for posting on social media, for coming out to criticize the government of the day. It is not good for democracy. It doesn't tell well.
All right, but there's another part of the conversation that says, speak to the issues and don't speak to personality. What's the balance? Is it achievable? As an activist, you speak to the issues and you do not speak to the personality?
Well, the personalities are the ones bringing the issues. If you ask the Nigerian on the road, who are your problems? They will tell you our leaders are the problems. They don't see the issues. The leaders make these issues. They make the policies that bring about the issues. If you have a good government, everybody say, Tinubu's government is good. We are talking about the person. So that comparison, to separate one from another is a very difficult thing. You have to just oppose the link between the person and the issues is you have to have a surgical distance to separate one from the other. And it's difficult to do that because it is the government of the day that makes policies, and those policies are the issues. And there's no way you speak to those issues without talking about the government of the day. I don't ascribe to attacking an individual, to attacking, to insulting powers that be. I've never done that, and I'm not ascribed to it. I'm not even advocating for that. But the people in power, the government of the day, they are the persons bringing up those policies. So it's difficult to actually surgically remove the issues from the persons. But in most cases, we try to do it, and most activists try to do that.
All right, so yeah, go ahead, complete the thoughts. You wanted to say something?
No, I'm done.
Right. Okay. So thank you so much, Bernard. Still stay on the line. We'll go for a short break, and when we go back, I will try to wrap up the conversation as we keep asking you deeper questions concerning what is the political implication of all of this happening at this moment. Let's go for this break. This is still Big Talk. My name is Ubong Osoro. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Big Talk on Global Television. My name is Wong Osoro. Our program where we highlight political issues around Nigeria. Tonight, joining us from Yoruba, we have Bryce Bernard, who is joining us as we discuss Showore and his interface with the government and what it means politically for even himself and the government. This is what we're highlighting. All right, so Barrister, still stay on the line with us. Let's get back to the Showore's issue now. I was saying Showore contests for the office of the President of Nigeria successively. We saw him do that in 2019. We saw him do that in 2023. And it seemed he didn't even, some people say he didn't come first, he didn't come second, he didn't come third in the race in these two different contestations. I like that you talked to us about that. Is there a disconnect between activism, which we think that since you're speaking for the people, you are supposed to have the people queue or behind you and vote for you. It seems it doesn't also translate into political offices.
Okay, I'm sorry, and I'm not speaking for sorry, but elections in Nigeria are quite different. Except you're asking about Sowe's popularity. Well, politically and otherwise, except you separate. Okay, well, you cannot separate his political ambitions from the person Sowe. He is a young man, has come out to say he has good ambitions and good plans for the country. And as everybody who has the right to contest, he has been doing that and has been working for a better Nigeria. But when it comes to amassing massive votes and political popularity, is a discourse for another day. I can't actually go into that as I don't know. But I think he has been there in the political space for quite a long time, and we all know it takes time. Battling the big wigs, he's a young man compared to those who have been ahead of him and the political class we have now, and those who have been in offices. I don't think he has had any political office, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's not a new terrain for him, and I believe as time goes on with what he has been doing, speaking for persons, and I think for him, he might, who knows, do well in the upcoming elections if he decides to contest. That's all I can say in regards to this.
All right, I'm still staying on that particular subject because I just like that I will do some exploration around that subject. Some people have questioned the fact that maybe we need to have 4 political parties in Nigeria, maybe just 3, because we have some political parties that some people run on their platform that may not give them some prominence. So let's just put all these the 19 we have now and have about 3, or of course about 120 wanting to be registered already by INEC. I like that you speak to the fact that also do we have enough political parties, or are you of the opinion that we should maybe just get the number down to 3 or 4 political parties in Nigeria?
Okay, well, that's a big discussion, and it will have to, if we have to go into that, we'll have to even get political parties up to 3 or 4 or whatever. It has to do with it's a constitutional matter, and to achieve that, we'll have to amend the constitution to that effect. But in the
Hello, can you hear me?
There are the pros and cons. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead if you can hear me. We lost you for a while, but go ahead, speak to us.
Hello, sir. Yeah. So I am of the opinion. I think there are some that are for to cut down the political parties to 4 or 2, while some are. But the implications are that some persons who want to run independently or their platforms may be denied this based on their popularity by those those political parties. I think that is the argument for those that want it to be any number. But for those of us, for some that want it to be smaller, it brings about the sense of belonging for most persons, and even the cost for INEC to be carrying out ballot boxes for all the political parties. It will save cost for the electoral body, and also save cost for most of the political party, and align it to a leaner this thing for persons to actually come. I think the lives of Sowore, some other young persons, I think Mongolu, that came out, young Nigerians that came out to contest, if they are on this bigger platform, I think their popularity will soar, and they will have a greater chance of becoming who they actually want to be and rule this country someday. I think that will do them a lot of favors.
All right.
That is my personal opinion.
Yeah, I understand. There are also discussions about the fact that some people are into activism because they're sponsored by government. I don't know if you've gotten any experience about that. The activists are sponsored by government, and maybe you'd like to help us understand what actually happens in that particular field.
Okay, saying that does not happen is denying the reality of things, and I'm not here to deny it. I'm a realist, so I will speak to the matters as it is. If you go to X, or if you're a regular stuff X like I do, because I go there to listen to news, to latest happenings about the country and stuff, you will see the pros and the cons. Those are for the government, influencers are not for the government, and you see there are different views. And in every government, if you have to be truthful, we'll say they have some influences, so to say, I don't know, for activists that are gotten by or are paid. The allegations that some are paid by the government, or I believe that to be true, to front the decision of the government. Same way government get lawyers, get journalists that speak about their government. I think they do that also. I think there are persons, the government has the right to get influences to speak about their policies and to influence younger ones and those that are. I think they do that. I believe it is. I believe there are some persons like that, mostly social media influencers, but I don't know of activists.
All right, so in the 2023, in the build-up to 2023 election, starting from the NSAS, we saw a renewed consciousness of Nigerian youth. We saw more participation. In fact, the last election was called by INEC's leader, that's INEC's chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, as election of the youth, because we have more young people vote in that election than we've ever had in the history of Nigeria. And maybe it signaled a new thing. I like that you speak to us as we look towards 2027. Are we going to see more youth-led action or more involvement of young people in our politicking? What are you seeing?
Okay, well, I think I was listening to the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, when he was calling for youth to actively participate in politics. If we want to change the narrative of our country, I will encourage youth to participate in politics. I think there is a new wave of youth being interested in politics. For example, this new INEC registration and stuff, INEC said it that a lot of youths are coming out to register to get their voters card and stuff. So it's encouraging, and I will encourage more youths to come into politics, because to change the narrative, we need to, if you look at Nigeria from inceptions, those that ruled us in those days were youths, 23, 30, governors being presidents, and the country was moving forward. But right now there is a belief that the older generation, the politicians, we cannot retire them except you come into politics. Some of us have the belief that they are due for retirement politically. So I'm encouraged, and I'm even happy that the youths are there. We see a lot of movements, the obedience movements. Obedience movement is mostly sponsored and followed by the youths. So it's a great awakening that Africa, Nigeria has a very strong rate of teaming youth in the whole of Africa. So if the youths can rise up to take matters into their hands and not through violence, but through the polls, to elect leaders to represent them, it should be a good thing. And if also the powers that be INEC and the rest will allow the vote of the people to count, I think the youth can make a say in this coming election. They can be the decisive factor in this upcoming elections. I strongly believe so.
All right, so what are factors that are divisive, factors of religion, not in itself, but some people use it to cause divisions. Factors like religion, tribalism, ethnicity. I like that you also speak to that. How does it affect the country, Nigeria, and activism? Because when you call out some people say, you're calling this person out because it's not from your place, and all of that kind of argument.
Okay, yes, I think that is the problem of this country, and that is why we've not moved forward, if you must ask me. And I think the political class are aware, and they are fueling this against the country. And apart from that, I think even the international organizations, you cannot take away the fact that we still have some foreign powers trying to influence things in Nigeria. I believe they use religion and tribalism to divide the youth. I think they run up to elections. A very prominent politician was saying, if you are Igbo, it doesn't matter if you are Yoruba, it doesn't matter if you are Hausa or German, if you go to the market, you will still buy the price at the same. They won't sell it to you because you are Igbo or you are Yoruba or you are a Muslim or you are not. So I think it also affects, it's a mindset. This person is from my place. Why do you talk about him? He's from my place. We keep quiet. In fact, there were allegations that when Buhari was there, the northern youths and some of them were not even saying anything. But now that Tinubu has come in, a person from the south, they are beginning to know those are allegations. And apart from being allegations, these are things we see. I'm calling on Nigerians to forget about tribalism and religion. They don't care. Those leaders don't care about religion and tribalism. You see them, their children get married, they don't care about it. They use it as a weapon to divide the youth and to continue. I think it's a major problem we are having, as you clearly pointed out. And I think if we can overcome it, we can have the Nigeria of our dreams.
Right, so as we try to wrap up the conversation tonight, I'd like to ask you, you're a lawyer, and I heard you mention that you were in Enugu for your conference, but some people say the conference, some lawyers that I've spoken to, I say the conference seemed to have it had gone past its time, that maybe it's no longer what it used to be. I'd like to hear your opinion about that tonight.
Okay, first of all, the annual conference of I don't know why some persons will say that.
But I don't know if you've heard that too in your profession. So you've heard it.
Well, I've not from that perspective, from what you just asked, I've not heard it actually. The conference is actually, apart from the fun fair and what it is, it's a place for lawyers to come together, apart from bonding, to have a general annual meeting for the year to discuss issues that concern Nigeria. I think from that conference we all learned a lot. At the last day I was not there. I joined virtually online to listen to the learned SAN Michael Zuckerman speak on the national security. It was a very refreshing and educative paper that I presented, and other speakers also. So I myself, I enjoyed, I learned a lot from hearing from those evident lawyers, public speakers. We had the Minister of Interior, we have Mr. Malami from South Africa, a freedom fighter, and a lot. So we learned a lot. So it's actually... just
before you conclude the thoughts, Barrister, some people say that there are some newcomers into your profession that were treated with so much respect, and to them they felt it's not what it should be. But I don't want to mention names tonight.
Yes, I heard about something like that happened. But...
Hello, Barrister Bernard. All right, so I will be talking to a legal practitioner. Okay, yeah, just go ahead, conclude the thoughts. We lost you for a while as we try to wrap up the program. Go ahead, conclude the thoughts in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think those are issues. We always have dissenting views on issues, and I think these are issues that the NBA will look into and address if truly stuff like that did happen. So I think that is just it.
You actually spoke like a lawyer. You said if truly it happened, right? Barrister, is that what you're saying to us? If truly it happened.
Well, the person, those informations are not verifiable. There are no.
Are they really not verifiable, Barrister?
Well, to my knowledge, they are not.
Thank you so much.
I
understand, Barrister. I really understand. Thank you so much, Barrister Bernard Pico, for sparing out your time to talk to us. I believe that when you get back to Abuja, we want to have you in the studio.
No problem. I'll be ready, sir. I'll be honored. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and we wish you all of the best in your trip. We wish to see you back very soon. Thank you so much. And people, that's the size of our program for tonight. We've been speaking to Barrister Bernard Biko, who's a legal practitioner and rights activist. You joined us via Zoom from Yenagoa. As we've been discussing the political implication for Sowore and the back and forth is had with the government. And we also touch light on some other issues. And like we say, Nigeria is a country. We must be conscious to put in efforts to make sure that this country works. That's what I want to see. For myself, for my children, and for my grandchildren, and for all of us. Nigeria is a great country, and we must build this country. My name is Ubong Musara in Abuja, and I'm saying, love Nigeria, and keep believing, and keep trusting. Bye for now.